Evening, folks. Hope you're having a good one. How's everybody? The Law Rebuilders have reconvened. The Brain Trust has reconvened. Happy to see you all here. Heretical Chappio, how's it going, man? Faust, good to see you again. I'm noticing some familiar names from last time, which is great. Great that we're getting the rebuilding in. Wings of Steel, how's it going, dude? Rupert, how's it going? Wanton the Stormtrooper. Flaming Neko. I remember you from last time, too. Matthew Tucker, alright, mate, how's it going? You've got a Spartan and 2 armor just built for tonight. Perhaps some painting if I can get them squared away quickly. Yeah, do you know what? I've actually been painting myself at the moment, which is great. I've been having a bit of time to paint, which I never normally do. I've got a new project on the go for Christmas. The end of the year project, you know, just to keep me going. And it is a force called the Emperor's Wolves. They are a well, it's a Space Marine chapter, of course. But it's my last Space Marine chapter for a good while. I think I'm pretty much done with Space Marines after this force, I think. But if you look on the wiki, or any wiki you get to, you will see that the Emperor's Wolves are actually a force. They're actually in the wiki. They have their own page. And they're quite a cool chapter. Like, they've got no lore to speak of, but they've got a really cool colour scheme. It's like a dark grey with red pauldrons. It's pretty cool. I like it. And so I was sitting in bed once and just going over, you know, my hobby plans, what I was going to do for the rest of the year, and I just got the hankering to. Do you know when you've got like techniques that you've learned and you really want to do something with them, you know? But I was kind of sick of painting silver, because I've been doing Exiled Blades and Void Talons and Grey Knights, and my God, was I sick of doing silver. I love painting metallics. But fuck me, I was done. So, decided to use contrast paints for the first time. Well, it's going quite well. I do like contrast paints. I am a convert to contrast paints. Whoa! Advertisements. Sorry about that. Advertisements. So how I get my pictures to myself is that I send them on to my own Facebook. I message them to myself. I know. Ghetto way of doing it, but, you know, it is what it is. Right, let's have a look at the... So, again, remember when I say to people, like, get a better camera? Well, you know, sue me. This is last minute. But these are the Emperor's Wolves. This is what they look like. He's not done yet, of course. He needs his sword doing. Obviously, the head he's stabbing needs doing. And the skull on his shoulder pad needs stabbing. And the holes need drilling. But apart from that, this is basically what the new project looks like. It's the Emperor's Wolves. I'm theming the chapter around the Officio Assassinorum. So they are essentially assassins. Space Marine assassins. But the ironic thing that I like about them, when I'm writing the lore, they're Space Marine assassins, but they are mental. So they don't really sneak. They just run headlong at enemies and just carve them to pieces. They are zealots. They are Emperor is a god zealots. You know. And they're actually well in with all of the assassins. So, especially the Eversa Temple. So the Eversa Temple is very, you know, works hand in hand with the chapter quite a lot. And they term themselves as the Emperor's true executioners, because the Space Wolves are given the Emperor's executioners title. But, you know, bollocks to it, I'm taking it off them. But yeah, that's what they're going to look like. Eversa Marines, yeah. Sword Brother, yeah, pretty much. Flaming Neko says, "Hey North, I've been catching up on your hobby nightmares. Can you start adding your video to that playlist again? It makes it easier to listen to when I'm at work." Yeah, I will do. I will do. I'm going to do some admin tomorrow, so I'll put that on the list of getting my... I'm also going to do a playlist for this series too. It's going to be on there. Yeah. So here, I'll tell you what we'll do. This is one of my favourite parts of every stream we do, by the way, is when we just sit here and chat. You know what I mean? We just have a little talk before we start rebuilding. But have a little look at the... There you go. There's the Emperor's Wolves in the Lexicanon wiki. Now, again, you can't, you know, look at everything as gospel in the wiki. But, you know, they do have... how do we put it? Quotations, right? So they were in Codex Chaos Space Marines in 4th edition, and they were in the Adeptus Astartes Successor Chapters book too. Not much is known about them. Their 8th company was lost in the warp and turned to chaos, which I think is a really cool narrative, right? That one of them turned to chaos. But have a little look at that picture of the colour scheme. I think I've kind of nailed it. You know, I added the silver because it just looks cooler than just being bare. But I think I've kind of nailed it. Cheers, Dave. Cheers, Positive Geekery. Thanks, man. How are things going with work? All good? All good? Hopefully you're not too stressed out. Wings of Steel, what's the best way to get hold of you for questions and such? Email me, hobbynightmares@gmail.com, or Discord. I'm on Discord. I always approve friend requests because I like speaking to people. So, you know, I am remarkably reachable if we do it on Discord. I literally get back to you pretty quick. You know, people are often shocked by how reachable I am. Not so much on emails, because I've got so many emails, you might get buried. So if you really want to talk to me, then go the extra mile and add me on Discord. I'm about to update the Discord link. So thank you for reminding me. Let me just... There we go. Discord link is in the chat, and I'm going to put it on the in the channel too. So it's on the channel announcements page, community page, and it is also in the chat. So you should be able to join it now. Actually being off ill all weekend, ear infection. Oh, that sucks. That affects hearing, which is my line of work, to a serious issue. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't need to ask me, Board. If you're in this chat and you're being nice, I am your friend. You don't need to ask me. It's all good. Cooking some Chinese green onion pancakes. You bastard. I'm starving, Faust. Stop it. You bastard. Do you know what? I might let you guys vote on what I'm having for dinner. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Our first vote of the night will be you guys telling me what to eat for dinner. So, I'm going to order something for me and the missus, right? So, we have a burger place nearby. I'm not going to dox myself by saying what it's called, but it's a really good burger place. They do smash burgers, right? They're amazing. And their fries are top notch. Really good. Really, really, really good, right? That is one option. Option number 2 is there's a really good sushi place as well, quite nearby, which I could get some stuff from. So, let's have a look. Start poll. What is North having for dinner later? Epic burger. Seductive sushi. That'll warm us up. American good. Yes, Yankee. Yes, they are American good. They are good. They're quite pricey. Like I think for an order of 2 burgers and fries, it is like it's like 24, 25 pounds. But dude, it's really good. Excellent stuff. Correct answer, whatever she wants. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Sushi a lot more expensive than me. It can be. It can be from Birkin. Yeah, it depends where you get your sushi from. Depends where you get it from. Ours is, yes, but we tend to cut down because we have a lot of the sauces and different things that go with sushi in the house. So we don't really need to buy those either. I think it comes down to, am I in fat mode or I'm looking pretty good right now? Yeah, I mean, I will say, last night was really cool. Like, I'm hungover to fuck today, boys. Like, oh my god. I'm so hungover. But I'm not hungover as in I'm ill. I don't really get ill. And unless I really overdo it with drink, I don't really get ill. I get, run down, right? Run down. And that's me today. I've just run down. That's why I'm late coming onto the stream, because I've just had to work up the gumption to start, because I was so close to being like, do you know what, bollocks to it, but I can't do that. I really enjoy doing these, so yeah. But I'm getting my second win now. But yeah, last night was the first time I wore a shirt and jeans that I've not been able to wear for 8 years, right? And the people who came round for the house party that we threw were like, wow, you look great, you know. And it's the first time, like, as a guy, you're not used to people complimenting the way you look, you know. We don't really get it often, right? You all know that. So it means a lot more to us than it does to women, you know. Because women, you get it as a matter of course. It's polite, you know what I mean? Like, you're looking stunning today, you know, it's just polite. Whereas a guy, you very rarely get compliments, so it was good to... And it was people who, like, ripped the shit out of me as well. So quite a lot of them were what people who would have a go at you, not in a nasty way, but they would, like, say, what are you doing, you fat fuck? You know, things like that, you know. But they were like, no, you look really good, and, like, you're trimmed. And I was like, cool, oh, this is awesome, you know. So it really lit a fire under me to go back to the gym. Keep going. I'll be back there tomorrow. I didn't go today because, again, I was hungover. So yeah, lethargic hungover is I prefer lethargic hungover to ill. But I remember back in the day when I used to get ill once a year maybe I'd get ill after being drunk. When I got my second wind, so once I've thrown everything up and I'm okay, once I got my second wind, I was in a really good mood. I had like loads of endorphins rushing around my system. I don't get that anymore, so there's not really point in doing it, but there you go. Don't drink, kids. Or if you do it with your woman. Treat her. Asian food in general has this odd sensation to make you feel fed for maybe 2 hours, and then you're starving again. Yeah. I think it has I think it's how do I put it? How do I put it? They put this chemical in Asian food. MSG, is it called MSG? Let me see. What chemical is in most Asian takeaway foods? It is MSG, yeah. Monosodium glutamate is a common chemical found in many Asian takeaway foods. It is an odorless crystalline additive that enhances the savoury flavour of food. It's made from glutamic acid, which is also naturally found in some foods like tomatoes and cheese. MSG, guys, is not very good for you. And it makes you full. It basically makes you full. It's one of the things it does to the body. But, again, when it wears off, MSG is also McDonald's stuff. You ever wonder why McDonald's, 1, has a specific taste, and 2, you're starving after about an hour or 2 after you've had McDonald's? That's why. You know? Faust says, North, I've seen pics of you in real life. You are a chat. Oh, cheers, man. Don't know where you saw those. But, there you go. Like and subscribe, or don't. I'm not your mum. Yeah, we'll get into Iron Warriors in a minute. I think we'll get going at about 6:45. So we'll let people join and chill out for a bit, and we'll get going 5 minutes. Those of you who are here, remember we record our lore rebuild. So if you're not happy having your name read out, just put it at the start of your chat message. Yeah, you will be appearing on Thursday's video. So Thursday every week, it is you guys. You will be appearing in the video with me. So we'll be having a chat. They won't be able to see the screen or the chat. So if your real name is in the chat, don't worry about it. But yeah, we're going to rebuild the Iron Warriors. It's cool. Is that one of your Grey Knights? No, this is a Space Marine of the Emperor's Wolves chapter. It's just a small project I've got going for... I think I'm only going to do like 500 points, maybe. About 500, 750 points of Emperor's Wolves. I just want like a really highly well-painted army for me to just bring to an event and go, look, here's my small army, this is what I'm capable of. You know what I mean? I love the Void Talons and the Exiled Blades because you can see how I've gotten better over time. Do you know what I mean? So the new ones look really good, whereas the old ones are a little bit less. But with the Emperor's Wolves, I wanted to do something where I can show off what I've learned all in one small force. So I'm not like building this massive army that's taking up all of the time. Do you know what I mean? MSGs are like the super version of Salt. They are, yeah. They are. I'm considering doing Iron Warriors next release for... oh, cool, cool. Iron Warriors are... I'll get into it when we record the video in a minute. But I simultaneously say that this is going to be the easiest and hardest rebuild. Because I've not got any questions written down. Because... I just love the Iron Warriors so much. I honestly don't know what we're going to change. So it may be a shorter episode. You never know. How many Space Marines is 500 points? About 2 or 3 squads, I'd say. Depending on what the squads are. 2 or 3 squads. And a character or 2, maybe. I'm not counting the Chapter Master in that points. So, the Chapter Master looks badass. Like, I really like him. He looks like a 40k version of Darth Vader. Just this massive dude. Awesome. But yeah. About 2-3 squads and a character. Nano Riot says, aside from the animated episode of Chaos Terminators versus Necrons, how effective would you say the Terminator armor would be against Necron Ghost Flare guns? Well, chat can answer you, I think. You know? Chat can answer you. But I think Terminator armor should be tanking most things. That's the whole point. Do you know what I mean? That's literally the whole point. So, I think they should be tanking most things. Necron Ghost Flare. A direct hit, like in a weak point, should go through the armor. But if it's straight to the chest, do you know what I mean? No, he should be rocked, but tanking it. I'm thinking. Not sure if I should add to my Dark Angels at the end of the year or start my World Eaters. What do you guys think? Dude, at the end of the year, I always like to... I don't know whether you guys do this in the hobby, but I always have a project at the end of the year for Christmas. It may be one squad or a small force, like the Emperor's Wolves, right? But I do one thing to show what I've learned that year, just to end the year off. Sometimes it's one model. I've done that before. The Duelist guy I've shown up before. He was one of those. So yeah, try something new. Try something new. That's what I say. Yeah, about 30 Marines is 500 points, yeah. I don't really do tanks. Do you know what I mean? I just do Marines, and more Marines. Right. Are we ready to record our episode on the Iron Warriors? If you guys want the music for yourselves, I can put it in the chat for you before we start. There you go. I've seen people painting the barrels. I might try that. The Stormbolter. I still think it's ridiculous that Games Workshop don't just give you them already drilled. Or like, indented. You know what I mean? Alright, let me change the music up. Ooh, it's a bit loud. There we go. Muck it down there. Alrighty. Let's jump in. Hello folks, welcome to another video that I'm being helped in with the chat. And that is rebuilding for the Exileverse. And this week we're doing a really difficult one. Iron Warriors. I've just said to the chat then that Iron Warriors could be the easiest or the hardest one we've done so far. The hardest rebuild we've done so far. Why? Because I really like the Iron Warriors. And I don't think they need to be changed that much. I don't know. Chat, what do you reckon? Do they need to be changed that much? I saw somebody in the chat before saying that they shouldn't fall to chaos. I've got no real bugbear either way, right? In this, to be honest with you. Like, I honestly think that the Iron Warriors are okay as they are, but that wouldn't make for a good episode. So, let's jump in. I've not written down any questions because I was at a bit of a loss this week. I was kind of going over it and what we were going to do and how we were going to tackle the Iron Warriors. I think it's much easier to rebuild something that's terrible. You know, Fulgrim's Fall to Chaos, for instance. Not a very good piece of lore. Very easy to get your teeth stuck into that. Iron Warriors, not so much, because everyone loves the Iron Warriors, or you should do, if you've got taste, and you're a man of culture. So, I think the first question we should ask, before we go anywhere, right, is, where is Perturabo found? Why did he go to Olympia? What was on Olympia? Remember, we start every single episode like this. The Emperor sent the Primarchs out into the galaxy to conquer certain worlds ahead of time. So Urda isn't a thing in our Exile verse. She's ridiculous and stupid, right? So nobody scatters the Primarchs across the galaxy. The Emperor sends them out. He creates them as babies and sends them out to seed them on important worlds that he needs conquering very quickly. So why is Perturabo sent to Olympia? Oh yeah, close the dinner poll. I'm having a burger apparently later. Sorry folks, if you're watching on YouTube. Titan Forge, says Matthias. That's a... Oh, no, yeah, I think that's a good idea. That is not a bad idea. Michigan Yankee says Knifeear Portal. Yeah, Eldar Portal. Okay, okay. Yeah, if you want Perturabo to be a Siege Master, that should tie in. Again, it's all about trying to figure out where Perturabo's weaknesses are. The one thing I love about Perturabo is he's probably the most human of the Primarchs. And he's kind of a reflection of what wargamers are. Like, and I don't mean... I am a wargamer, do you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to, like, cast shade on anybody or anything. But Games Workshop are actually really, really good at doing a commentary on who their fans are. I always bring up the Red Scorpions for this, because they brought out a Forge World only chapter, and they were, you know, incredibly expensive, and only Forge World fans could get their hands on them, right? But what are the chapter like? Well, they're elitists, they're snobs, they get all the best and most expensive war gear for seemingly no reason, right? And they're obsessed with purity, and we have the best stuff, you don't, ha ha ha, right? If that's not a commentary on who Forge World fans are, I don't know what is. I think Perturabo being such a bitter person, and also being a wargamer, and he is literally a wargamer, right? We see it in Angel Exterminatus with Fulgrim. I think that's a really good commentary on the wider 40k fan base, which is why I want to keep it in. Board says, to secure the Master Craftsman of the world, okay? The most advanced fortress world in the galaxy, yeah, okay. Minor Forge. They can make a bunch of siege weaponry. Crow says, I always liked that Magnus and Perturabo always got on, considering how different their temperaments were. I love that, yeah. But they're both thinkers, though. Problem solvers, aren't they? It's just Perturabo's thoughts are geared towards... How do I put this? They're geared towards real-life solutions. They're geared towards fixing things and building things, whereas Magnus is more esoteric, right? Olympia could be the centre of architecture and specific STCs, in which he could help create newer designs. That's cool, I like that. Give Perturabo some meaningful motivation to fall to chaos, other than just daddy issues, says Prez. That's a good idea as well. I'm not sure STC needs to be brought in, because... then again, if we're going to bring an STC in, a standard template construct, I think Perturabo's the guy we need to do it with. Okay. First poll. Is there an STC on Olympia? First poll question. Is there a standard template construct on Olympia? That doesn't need to be the whole reason why Perturabo was sent there, but it is a reason why he's sent there. There's one of the reasons why he's sent there. Tom says, Olympia can be a fortress world taken over by orcs. Perturabo sent to understand their tech and break them out. The planet is located in a strategically important location too. Maybe the STC is a new type of armor. Good Wings of Steel. Yeah, I like it. I like Tom's idea there, though. I like Tom's idea. So what Tom's saying is that Olympia should be like a linchpin world. It should be a world that's basically holding an entire sector of space together. I like that idea. I think that's cool. Sword says, Perturabo could still have a fascination with Old Night and the Cybernetic Revolt, looking for evidence of the conflict without really knowing what the events are. That's interesting, yeah. Yeah, the Men of Iron, right? Dude! I've solved it. Solved it. I think we've rattled it. I think we've got it. So, there is an STC. We've ended that poll. There is an STC. Right, cool. I'm thinking we can meld all of these ideas together, which is what we do, right? All I'm here to do is vector your ideas into a workable whole. Is what I'm doing. So, we're going to have Olympia is actually a human civilization that is constantly under siege by orcs. They're literally in an orc empire. They're the only human civilization in an orc empire. That's why there are massive fortress cities all over the place on Olympia, right? Perturabo sent down there by the Emperor to basically lead the planet because there is an STC and Men of Iron on the planet. Right? There are Men of Iron on the planet. These guys from Old Night, they are literally on the planet, deep down in vaults, right? Within the core of the Earth. They're down there. And he's got to go there and secure them so they don't come out and start wrecking shit all over the place, right? We could even have the STC be a standard of Imperial armor. That'd be pretty cool, right? Maybe Terminators aren't a thing until Perturabo's found. And the Terminator, the actual Terminator warsuit comes from this STC. You know what I mean? I think that combines everybody's stuff nicely. So, Olympia attacked by orcs. Men of Iron at planet's core. STC is Terminator. Are we happy with that? So, I've put Olympia is constantly attacked by orcs. That's why it's so fortified. The Men of Iron, or at least some Men of Iron, are deep down in the planet's core, right? And they are never to be disturbed. We need the Emperor's like, no. We need someone to lock that shit down. That needs locking down. And the STC is Terminator armor. So there's no Terminator armor in the Imperium until Perturabo gets found, essentially, right? Cataphracti Terminator armor, yes, why not? Cataphracti Terminator armor, yes, no problem. His Iron Circle could be, instead of automatons, Men of Iron, subjugated by Perturabo and controlled through the Logos armor. Love it. Absolutely love it, Sword Brother, yeah. Why don't we make Perturabo's armor the original Terminator plate? The Logos armor. It's the original Cataphracti Terminator plate. It's huge. And it allows him to reach out and control technologies around him, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Why don't we do that? Yeah. The Iron Circle are Men of Iron. Subjugated by Perturabo. He's the only one who can control them. Right, we're at 95%, so I think we can end that poll there. I think we've done well. So, that's what we've done. That's brilliant. I like that. Really good ideas. Really, really good ideas. So we've changed something. So Olympia is a world besieged by orcs. constantly, which is why the cities are so fortified in mountains. Men of Iron are locked in prisons at the core of the world. Perturabo sent to Olympia to lead the people in safeguarding this threat. And STC on Olympia also leads to the construction of Terminator plate, of which Perturabo possesses the first. The Logos armor, with which he can control tech and subjugate Men of Iron. Dude, that's awesome. The main thing of what we do here is we do stuff like this. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. Alright, moving on. So, we fixed that part of the law. We didn't need to, but somehow we did. We fixed that part of the law. I'm very, very, very happy. That makes him so dangerous. It does. It does. More power for Perturabo, though. He is Chad. He is awesome. I love Perturabo. He's the best, right? So, do we keep Perturabo's personality intact? Now, the reason why I'm saying we could, and I think we should, is because Perturabo, he's a jailer. He's the Emperor's jailer. Right? That's what he does. He goes and captures things. That's what he's good at. He's sent against technological threats. And he goes and changes them and takes them back to the Emperor. And he's really good at breaking down fortifications and things like that, right? That's why he's so good at it. One, his entire homeworld is built around that. Yeah? And number two, well, most of the conflicts he goes into are grinding attritional conflicts against technologically advanced species that don't want to submit to the Emperor's Great Crusade, right? But do we keep his personality the same? I think we probably should, because I think him being the jailer and needing to remain on Olympia for so long makes him isolationist. It makes him kind of xenophobic. He doesn't really get along with people. Not a people person, right? Yeah, I don't think we're going to ask a question about that one. I don't think we want a happy Perturabo, do we? We want a bitter Perturabo. Yeah? It could do, Matthew, yeah. So he says, could it also specifically allow Terminators to teleport? Yeah, it could do. The STC could do. Could do. Yeah, Perturabo captures tech and technological threats to stick them in the Dark Cells. Yeah, I think we're going with that, yeah. Tom says, I would keep the same, but I would like to see more about his hopes and dreams. I'd like him to be a keen scholar and lecturer. He loves explaining things to people and teaching lessons. But this gets quite toxic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Perty remains bitter, but is a scholar of technology and a keen teacher. This also leads him to thinking he knows better than everyone else. Because most of the time he does. Most of the time he does. He is the Emperor's jailer. Breaking advanced civilizations. In grinding attrition warfare and sending them to the Dark Cells or to Mars. Excellent. Okay, So we've kind of got Perturabo's personality figured out there, right? Where do we put him on the... I think he should be kind of early in the Crusade, so I'm thinking we're going to go with 5th. So Perturabo's found 5th, right? We kind of got to do that because people need Terminator armor. So Perty is the 5th Primarch found by the Emperor. Alright. So, Matthew says, I'd say he is an avid teacher with an incredibly short fuse and quick to violence. He has little time for those who cannot comprehend his ideas quickly enough. Yeah. Ulfith says, less shut up and more listen here, this is how it's done. Yeah. JJ says, he is the Emperor's arrogance incarnate. Why can't... Maybe he can be... The Emperor's arrogance and thinking he can control everything incarnate. Because the Emperor is so arrogant, I think he has different levels of arrogance. So maybe that's what it is. He thinks he can control everything. Right? Ooh, JJ says 6th after Vulcan, so Vulcan's forges are set up for creating the armor. Yeah. I don't mind that. Okay, Vulcan is 5th. Don't mind that at all. Let him be yeah, let him be Praetorian of Terror instead of Dawn, says Perturabo 84. Yeah, I'm not sure we're doing that one. I'm not sure we're doing that. Do you know what? I'll tell you what. We've kind of set up what Perturabo's doing in the Great Crusade, right? He's going on these attritional conflicts, these brutal bits of warfare. He's really segregated himself away from his brothers because he's the one who has to keep the Men of Iron in check. Yeah? He needs to keep going back to Olympia. So his first conquest is smashing the orcs around his home system, but he needs to keep going back to Olympia to make sure that the wards are sealing the Men of Iron in place. Yeah? But we need to decide two things, because we pretty much, unlike Fulgrim, Perturabo doesn't have like seven or 8, you know... I know he kills his sister and goes home and Olympia rebels and things. So he's got certain tangents that he goes on to define his character. But unlike Fulgrim, there aren't really any keystone moments where we go, oh, if that was different, maybe it could be this, you know? So we've kind of got what he does in the Great Crusade out the way. So we don't really need to look at what the Iron Warriors do. We're not changing the Legion, because we think the Legion's cool, right? But we need to decide two things. Okay, number one, do the Iron Warriors fall to chaos? And number two, if not, is Perturabo Praetorian of Dawn? I'll let you guys vote on that one, right? Dogboon says, North, if they have a Terminator SDC, A, where are the pre-existing Terminator armors? And B, why is the Terminator armor so scarce and able to be created any longer? I think 40k answers that, right? Heretic, you know, it's heretical. We've forgotten all of these things, you know what I mean? It just, the passage of time, you know what I mean? Alright, people saying, heretical says yes, I assume he means keep him traitor. No, please don't, says JJ. Positive Geekery says, make it in the lore that he was meant to be Praetorian, but the Emperor changed his mind when Dawn came along, making him justified when bitter. That's cool. Ulfith says, no, renegade for life. Minding Bat says, what if the whole Legion went rogue, but not to chaos? Ooh. I think they need to go renegade. A lot of people are saying renegade, not chaos. Right? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll vote on it now. Okay. What is the current status? Status of the Iron Warriors. Alright. Loyal. Traitor. Renegade. There you go. Voting's up. What is the current status of the Iron Warriors? Once we've answered this question, we can then start to build out what we think and then how it happened. Yeah? Perty is too stubborn and proud to be controlled by chaos, says JJ. Good. Yeah. Giving the finger to everybody in their pocket empires across the galaxy, says Ulfith. Yeah. Stringed B says, chaos is change, remember? Perturabo would never. Dude, that is why I don't think he should be a demon prince. If they bring Perturabo back as a demon prince, I'm gonna be pissed. Like he shouldn't be a demon prince. Absolutely not. He doesn't like change. Like, this is Perturabo we're talking about. God damn it. Faust says, let's give a gut punch to Valrak and make the Iron Warriors the Praetorians. Yeah, I kind of really want to now. I'm not on his Christmas list at the moment, but yeah, I imagine that would annoy him. Wanton says, depends if siding with Men of Iron counts as traitor or renegade. Rosario says, but he doesn't know it's Vashtor. Ooh! So maybe the Men of Iron are actually disciples of Vashtor. Positive Geekery says he's a mercenary, will hire out siege specialist for resources. That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Wanton says, I'm going with Renegade under the caveat that it's him being convinced to side with the very Men of Iron he swore to contain and purge loyalists and traitors alike. Oh! Okay, we're ending that poll. Renegade has won 67%. Or 66%. Renegade has won. So, how is Perturabo leading the Iron Warriors into being renegades? I think a lot of you have already come out and said that Perturabo is going to side. He's so logical that he's like an AI. He's like a human version of an AI that's decided that to protect all life, we need to get rid of humanity, right? So he sides with the Men of Iron. He looks at his inner circle, like, you know, his iron circle, and he's like, you guys are the only ones who understand me. And they're just standing there silent, and he goes, yeah, I know. You know, that kind of thing. Like, just talks to them all the time. Nobody really gets him. And so he sides with the Men of Iron. He starts to commune with them and understand their point that humanity is a disease and needs wiping out. It needs to go, right? The flesh is weak. Ha ha ha, right? The flesh is weak. And maybe, I've got an idea here that Ferrus Manus and Perturabo are like the only two Primarchs that get along in terms of Perturabo. Like, Perturabo gets along with Magnus, yes, but he really gets along with Ferrus Manus because they're very similar-minded, right? And the ironic thing about the Iron Hands being, you know, flesh is weak and all that, is that was Perturabo's modus operandi. And it's the one thing that Ferrus Manus didn't go along with him with. He was like, no, humans have their place, you know? But Perturabo's ruthless. Absolutely ruthless. Because he doesn't see humanity as actually having any real worth whatsoever, and they're not worth saving. Perturabo's the person who, when you say, is this world even worth saving, he says no. No. The Men of Iron had a point. They had a point. And the Trident just worries whilst listening to this. I like the, Matthew says, I like the human AI idea. He is like a walking avatar of Skynet. Yeah, yeah. He's basically 40k Skynet. So Perturabo's kind of like Cybermen-esque. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I don't really like Doctor Who, but yeah, sure, why not? He leads, Michigan Yankee says, he leads the Dark Admech to resurrect the Men of Iron. Order above all else, says Matthias. Even humanity. Yes, maybe he sees the Emperor as an agent of chaos. What I mean by that is, he doesn't think the Emperor's fallen to chaos, because that would be silly. But he says, no, you're just as bad as they are. You're just as bad. You're creating war and famine and terrible things across the galaxy. Humanity shouldn't inherit the stars because they're not worthy of it. They shouldn't have it. I like that. I like that. Okay. So, Perty becomes Renegade in Horus Heresy as he comes around to the Men of Iron and their need to destroy humanity to end chaos. Perty hates Emperor as a hypocrite and a destroyer. And also hates chaos. So does not like Horus either. Thinks Horus is a puppet. So, Perturabo becomes Renegade in the Horus Heresy as he comes around to the Men of Iron and their need to destroy humanity to end chaos. Perturabo hates the Emperor as a hypocrite and a destroyer. And also hates chaos, so does not like Horus either. He thinks Horus is a bit of a puppet. Alright. Alrighty. The Emperor is an agent of change, and Perturabo sees change as inherently chaotic. Yes! Yep. Crow Post. Brilliant suggestion. That is exactly what Perturabo is, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if he's a renegade, is he at the Siege of Terra? Okay. Is Renegade Perty and Iron Warriors at Siege of Terra? Right, are Renegade, Perty, and Iron Warriors at Siege of Terra? Now, the reason why I asked that question, it may seem like a silly question, because of course he is, right? He's there. But he's a Renegade. He's a Renegade. So, if he's going to be at the Siege of Terra, the end of the Horus Heresy, we need to come up with a reason for him being there. Yeah? So I've got another opinion on this. I don't think he should be at the Siege of Terra. Do you know where I think he should be? Mars. Mars. I think he's on Mars. Thank you. For cheers, Wings of Steel, for the £5, man. Thank you very much. What a guy. Thank you. I think he's on Mars. And I think it's Perturabo who kills Ferrus Manus. I think we take that away from Fulgrim. I think Perturabo goes to Mars to take all of their technology. To basically just take it all. But this is mine now. He leads the Men of Iron there with his legion. And he fights the Iron Hands. And the Iron Hands We're going to give them a win, you know. Maybe we can give them a win. You know? I don't know. But Perturabo should kill Ferrus Manus, and the Iron Hands should be able to just about stave off the Iron Warriors in time. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Because as much as I like the fact that, you know, Fulgrim's tragic fall, he gets to kill Ferrus Manus, I think it works better as a thing. Because remember, we didn't kill Ferrus Manus in our last episode, did we? We kept him alive, and Vulcan died on Istvan 3. Mainly because we got rid of Perpetuals. So getting rid of Perpetuals meant that Vulcan died. Which I really like. I like that. It all fits in together. It's like poetry. It rhymes, right? Yeah. Yeah. So here we go. We've got to change things around here, okay? Let me put this on first. Iron Warriors versus Iron Hands on Mars. Are we happy with that? So the ending of the Horus Heresy for the Iron Warriors is Iron Warriors against Iron Hands, full legions that are left on Mars, fighting over the technology that's there. So he's not, Perturabo isn't at the Siege of Terra, but he is there indirectly. He's indirectly helping Horus's cause by going after Mars, right? The lore of the Void Dragon Shard? Yeah, maybe. Wanton says, maybe his assault on Mars is what forces Horus to act by lowering the shields on his ship. Yeah. Could be. Now, I've got a very controversial thing that's going to come up in a sec. And it involves Rogel Dawn, but not in the way you think. Not in the way you think. Yeah, on Messiah, yeah. How about the Iron Warriors help the Dark Mechanicus to get off Mars and help themselves to the tech? Yeah, could be doing that, yeah. The Battle of Iron, yes, indeed. Oh, does Perturabo lobotomize Iron Warrior legionaries and stuff AI cores into their bodies? Maybe he does for his inner circle. So it's like his elite first company are all one AI. they're all one AI that's subservient to Perturabo. All right, so we're going with Iron Warriors versus Iron Hands on Mars, and we're happy with that. All right, that's happening. So, Ferrus Manus is killed by Perturabo on Mars. Tragic. Right? He's killed by Perturabo on Mars. But his legion holds off the Iron Warriors for long enough that the Ultramarines arrive, you know, in the system, and Perturabo takes the Dark Mechanicum and gets them off of Mars, gets loads of tech to take with him. You know, so the Iron Hands get their win, right? That they are the only people to ever survive an attack by the Iron Warriors. But Perturabo gets his Primarch kill and gets away with the tech that he came to claim. Right? Now, so again, Flaming Neko, we're about to come on to that. We need to revisit Fulgrim. Because Fulgrim was supposed to kill Ferrus Manus on Terra in the Exileverse. Remember? Last week, Fulgrim killed Ferrus Manus on Terra, and he couldn't. The only way he could do it was by submitting to the demon inside of him. Yeah? Cool. So who is killed by Fulgrim if it's not Ferrus Manus? And I think it should be the Khan. I was going to go with Dawn, but I think Dawn is too important to the siege, and if he died, they would basically, the siege would be over, right? So I don't think it's Dawn. I think it's the Khan. I think Fulgrim kills the Khan. Oh, everyone's saying Dawn! What? Okay, alright, let's vote. Let's vote. Alright. Who does Fulgrim kill when he becomes a demon prince? Dawn. The Khan. Neiman Russ. Sanguinius. No, it's not going to be Sanguinius. Don't think so. Who else is down there? Dawn, the Khan, Lehman Russ, and I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. That's all we have. Okay. Go. So, who does Fulgrim kill on the in the Siege of Terror to become a demon prince? Is it Dawn? Is it the Khan? Or is it Lehman Russ? Graham von Karstein. Somebody said Korax. Well, Korax isn't there. Korax isn't there. His legion shattered, remember? Oh, Lehman Russ is winning the vote. I'm surprised. I thought it'd be Dawn. I thought it'd be Dawn. So with the Khan, him and Fulgrim have snipped back at each other back and forth, and the legions are quite similar. That's why I went with the Khan. And also the Khan doesn't really do much in modern 40k either, you know. So killing him off might be a, you know. But I will go with what you guys want to do. Dawn has got 31% of the vote so far. Lehman Russ 41. So I will end it once we get to. I'll leave that open for a few minutes, because this is a big one. This is a biggie. Who does Fulgrim kill when he becomes a demon prince on Terra? John Grammaticus. Yeah, well, John Grammaticus is not in the Exile verse, so we don't need to kill him off. We're good. Flumberken, killing off Russ would remove the silly solo duel with Horus. Yeah, it would do. It would do. Russ, because Thor got killed by Jormungandr the snake. Yeah. Yeah, okay. You can change your Dawn vote to Rush, yeah. I think you can just click on another name and it'll work that way. Flumberken says, on the other hand, not killing off the Khan makes him able to do more in the Exile verse. That's true. That's true. Very true. I can't believe you're killing off Lehman Russ. I did not see this coming. On my to-do list today, killing off Lehman Russ was not on there. Not right now, anyway. Yeah, I mean, I will need to explain why it's Lehman Russ who dies. But I think, actually, it kind of works. It does kind of work. So, remember when you said before that we don't have to do that silly duel between Horus and Lehman Russ? I think we do. I think we do. I think Lehman Russ has to atone for something. And I think Lehman Russ needs to leave Terra to go and seek glory for himself and kill Horus. He ignores the advice of the Emperor, and he ignores the advice of Malcador. He disobeys, and he tries to get the glory for himself, and he fails, right? He fails. And not only that, a lot of his legion die in the process. So to atone for that, Leman Russ is actually one of the frontline guardians, you know, of the Imperial Palace. He's there with Sanguinius, fighting back-to-back almost, right? And when he goes up against Fulgrim, he beats Fulgrim's ass. He literally beats Fulgrim's ass. Fulgrim cannot get near this dude. And so he gives in to the demon, he becomes a demon prince, and he strikes down Leman Russ. Right? And we can have Leman Russ's last stand being... Oh, I've got it. Right, okay, I'm going to end the vote there. So Leman Russ is dead, folks. We've killed off Leman Russ. So Leman Russ basically comes back to the siege as it's going on, right? Just as they're breaking into the central complex of the Imperial Palace. And he sends his wolves in and says, I'm holding this area. You guys go. Right? So maybe a quarter of the Legion gets inside the Imperial Palace whilst Russ holds off the Chaos Forces, such as his might. He's surrounded and he knows he's dead. He's already dead at this point. So he's fighting without fear, without anything. And he beats Fulgrim's ass. Fulgrim becomes a demon to beat him and kills him. That's what happens. Alright. Okay. Wow. Okay. So. Perty. Fights. Best friend. Ferrus Manus. On Mars. For the tech there. And slays him. Racked by guilt. But dedicated to his cause. Pulls back. With most tech on Mars. When the Ultramarines arrive. Okay. Alright. So. What do we do with Perturabo after the Horus Heresy? What do we do? What do we do with him? What do we do? So I'm thinking he's gonna stay. I would like to make the Iron Warriors not go into the Eye of Terror. I think the Iron Warriors have no need to go into the Eye of Terror because they've got the Men of Iron. They've got complete control over most technologies that they come across. They are a legion that's unbroken, right? They are 100,000 Marines strong. They have the Men of Iron. They have a massive fleet. You know? Durdu says the Men of Iron rebel. Ooh. Haha. Ferrus doesn't die. Perty uses his brother as a servo skull and keeps him around. Yeah, we could do that. JJ says he seeks to close the Eye of Terror so he can drain the Emperor. That'd be cool. Yeah. A prison break from the Dark Cells would make the siege more intense. Ancient tech horrors captured by Perturabo unleashed in the mayhem attacking both sides. Yeah, cool. We can do that. That works. That works. I honestly think, like, I know somebody said an empire there, create his own fiefdom, create his own empire. I honestly think it works better if they're a wandering fleet. Because he sees no need for worlds. It's... The flesh is weak, right? He likes metal, he likes iron, he likes being on a ship. I think it makes more sense for them to be this roaming, piratical band of, you know, AI-augmented biomechanical monsters and power armor. I think that makes it... I think what we're going to do, right? First things first. Is Perturabo a demon prince? I really don't want him to be, but I'm gonna... Again, this is your thing. I'm the vector for your ideas. So is Perty a demon prince in the 40k setting as we're going forwards? Yeah, mechanical pirate fleet. Yeah, I think that's what we're going with. The reason why I don't think he should be a demon is because I think Perturabo is monstrous just the way he is. I think being a demon, at very best, would be a side grade to Perturabo. He's already functionally immortal because he can transfer his consciousness into other bodies. You know, using technology. That's doable, right? He can... He doesn't want to because his body's awesome. It's a Primarch body, but there you go. He doesn't need to be a demon. He sees no reason to be a demon. He doesn't like chaos. You know? And basically anybody who messes with technology has to fear the Iron Warriors coming over the nearest hill, sort of a thing. Do you know what I mean? I think Perturabo is broken and monstrous and powerful just the way he is. Put him in a dreadnought, but big. We could do that, yeah. Maybe his Logos armor is so advanced, he can install himself in a dreadnought if he wants. And he can get out as well. I've had a really good idea. Bear with me. And don't answer the poll yet. Do we give Perty dementia? You heard me right. Do we give him dementia? Now, the reason why he did this, you know he says the flesh is weak all the time, but what if the human parts of his brain are breaking down and he's becoming more and more and more erratic as time goes on? And it's haunting him. And it's his main thing. It's haunting him. Like the human parts of his body, right, are betraying him. He's losing his mind. It's sort of like cyberpsychosis, right? In Cyberpunk. He's becoming more of a machine. He's losing his identity. He's losing his sense of self-determination. He's becoming a man of iron, and he's doubting himself. He's like, I don't want this. He's losing his mind. He's losing his memories. He's getting memories in his head that aren't his. And he's starting to actually lose what makes him human. And he's starting to just reevaluate and go, hang on a minute. If I lose my self-determination, if I lose who I am, why am I scared of not being a human anymore? It makes him more human. It makes him more of a character. He's not just a big evil dude in Terminator plate. Right? He's losing his mind. He's becoming less than what he was. He's losing his mind to the machine. In a form of technological dementia. Eventually. Bear in mind, he's been around for 10,000 years. He's not been in the warp, remember. So he's literally aged 10,000 years. Where nobody else has. Remember the lion ages? You know? So Perturabo's been going for 10,000 years. And he hasn't taken any shortcuts. And because he hasn't taken any shortcuts, he starts to lose his mind. It starts to break down. And he is obsessed with transferring his mind to a perfect body that's not going to degrade on him. Because his brain's dying. His brain is literally dying. It can't take any more. Augmentation, things like that. Durdu says he could turn himself into a hive mind, his personality breaking into different fragments. Yeah, again, what if him dominating all his technology strips away some of his mental acuity every single time he does it? Yeah. He's losing himself to the machine, he's starting to fade away, and it haunts him. Because at his core, it reminds him, Perturabo, you may be powerful, you may be all-conquering, but you're still human at your core. And it drives him mental. It drives him insane. Right? It drives him insane. Maybe that was the Men of Iron's plan. Yeah, Crow. Maybe. That was the long game they were playing. Yeah. Wanton says, I like the idea. In the end, the Men of Iron still see him as human and thus are paying for their goals. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Positive Geekery, why not go the Doc Ock route? He started off controlling the AI, but now it's controlling him. Yeah. Yep. Matthew says, perhaps over time his control of the hive mind first company leads them to breaking ranks and trying to control the Legion, which is now more of a machine. Yeah. Alright. We end with that. It's a sad note. Well, Perty, in 40k, has been alive and fighting for more tech for 10,000 years. As he dominates more tech, his mind starts to break down, reminding him he is human and haunting him. He develops a kind of technological dementia. Scary stuff. Right, so that is the fate of Perturabo. So let me read out what we did. Again, this was never going to be a really long episode because there's not as much here to fix as there was for the Emperor's Children and others. But, so what we have, Olympia is a world besieged constantly by orcs, which is why their cities are so fortified in mountain ranges. The Men of Iron are locked in prisons at the core of the world. Perturabo was sent to Olympia by the Emperor as a child to lead the people in safeguarding this threat away from the galaxy. A standard template construct on Olympia also leads to the construction of Terminator Plate, of which Perturabo possesses the very first one, the Logos Army, with which he can control tech and subjugate the Men of Iron. Perturabo remains bitter, but is a scholar of technology and a keen teacher. This also leads him to thinking he knows better than everybody else, because most of the time, he does. He is the Emperor's jailer, breaking advanced civilizations and grinding attrition warfare and sending them to the Dark Cells or to Mars. Perturabo is the 6th Primarch to be found by the Emperor, Vulcan is the 5th. Perturabo becomes renegade in the Horus Heresy as he comes around to the Men of Iron's way of thinking and their need to destroy humanity to end chaos. Perturabo hates the Emperor as a hypocrite and a destroyer of worlds, and also hates chaos, so does not like Horus either. He thinks Horus is their puppet. Perturabo is best friends with Ferrus Manus, and they strike up quite a good friendship, but he ends up having to fight Ferrus Manus on Mars for the tech there and slays him during the height of the Horus Heresy and the Siege of Terror. He is racked by guilt by this, but is dedicated to his cause, so sees it as a necessary evil. He pulls back with most of the tech on Mars when the Ultramarines arrive to liberate Terra. Perturabo in Warhammer 40,000 has been alive and fighting for more tech for over 10,000 years. As he dominates more tech, his mind starts to break down, reminding him he is human at his core, and this haunts him. He develops a kind of technological dementia, slowly losing himself, and is obsessed with finding a cure for his ailing brain. Scary stuff. And that is Perturabo. We have Dudes, I don't know how... Again, I know I do this too. I'm helping in this. But I don't know how you've done this week. You know? This was great. This was great. You know? This was likely the plan of the Men of Iron all along. As they see Perty as human and part of the problem. Ultimately. Okay. So, that is Perturabo. We have done Perturabo, dudes. I'm flabbergasted that we've managed to actually add to one of the best Primarchs. Perturabo as a Primarch is great. Is great. But I'm going to go with JJ here. We changed so much more than I thought we could, and I think it's better for it. I do. I do. I honestly do. I think this went really, really well. So good stuff. And if you're watching on YouTube, next week we will be doing Jakatai Khan, and who nearly died today, by the way. Jakatai Khan, we nearly killed him off. Next week we will be doing the Khan, and we will be doing the White Scars, Legion 5. I think. Is it not? Space Marine Legions. Let's have a look. I think it is. Of course they're out of order. Piss off. Can't stand that. Okay. Yeah, White Scars next week. It is White Scars next week. So, we're going to go with that. This is the first Primarch next week and Legion that is completely loyalist. So, you know, because even the Dark Angels were half traitor. So, I will see you next week on YouTube, and I'll be sticking around on stream for a little while longer now. So, love you a long time. Speak to you soon. Say bye, chat. We'll see you next time. Lovely stuff. Another video in the can. I'm with JJ there, though. We changed so much more than I thought we would. Like we changed way more than I thought we would. But it's great. It's great. But I think the changes that we made were respectful to the original vision and actually improve what's there. Do you know what I mean? Which is great. You know? Because, I'm going to be honest, Games Workshop don't get a lot right when it comes to writing lore these days. But when they do get something right, I want to preserve it. Because when they do get it right, boy, do they get it right. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. I think that's great. I honestly just thought, there's no way we're going to be able to do this. Or it's going to be a really, really short episode. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't. Like, it was a normal sized episode. Fantastic. Are there any loyalist Iron Warriors? Yeah, there could be. Could be. I think when we get to the 1,000 Suns, that's going to be a biggie. That's going to be a biggie. Because the 1,000 Suns wreck the Space Wolves. And I don't mean like... I don't mean that as a Space Wolf hater. What I'm saying is that the 1,000 Suns caused the Wolfen to happen. Through warp magic. I'm going to die on that hill when we get there. The Thousand Suns are the reason why the Space Wolves degrade and can't have successor chapters. Because they corrupt, they strike them so hard with a magical backlash that it just corrupts their gene seed and corrupts their genetics. Did killing Russ help the hangover? I'm feeling a bit better, I will have to say. I'm feeling a little bit better. Alrighty, alright. Let me just sort this out. All done. Excellent. Brilliant stuff. Excellent. I'm really, really, really glad we did that. I honestly didn't think we'd get that far. I know next week is the Khan, and then what do we have after that? Space Marine Legions. Let's have a look. What do we have after that? So it is... Ooh! So what I'm thinking of doing... we're doing White Scars next week. Yeah. But then I think in week 6... Or week 7, sorry. We need to do Space Wolves and Thousand Suns together. I honestly think so. I think we need to do Space Wolves and Thousand Suns together in the same video. I don't think it makes sense to split them apart because they're so ingrained in each other, right? And I think when we get to Iron Hands... no. In fact, when we get to... Salamanders, we'll do Salamanders and Raven Guard together too. Because they are quite interlinked in getting smashed at Istvan and then being Shattered Legions throughout the Heresy, right? So, I think that's what we'll do. And when we get to Sons of Horus, we'll probably do Sons of Horus and Wordbearers together. So I think that we're going to get it to the point now where we're going to be doing... Only certain legions will get their own videos. So Night Lords will get their own videos, Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, Ultramarines, right? Most but other chapters who are linked in the Horus Heresy and in the later 40k universe will be doing together. So Space Wolves and Thousand Suns will be their own video linked in together. But White Scars next week. Fist is 7th, I think. Yeah, Fist is 7th. So it's White Scars, Space Wolves, Thousand Suns. So White Scars next week, and then Space Wolves / Thousand Suns the week after, and then Imperial Fists after the week after that. I think by Christmas we should get up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we should be able to get... And we should be able to get to Ultramarines. So Ultramarines will be the last one of the year. And then we'll start next year with Death Guard, I think. How about giving Mortarion and the Khan a closer connection? That'd be cool. Wouldn't mind doing that. Thousand Sons, specifically Magnus, should have a bit more Norse feel to reflect Magnus being similar to Odin, giving his eye for forbidden knowledge. Ooh. Maybe. 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 Right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to head out. Thank you very, very, very much for all of you who contributed and who made this really, really, really fun, as you always do. I will speak to you very soon. I will be back tomorrow with some Hobby Nightmares, and tomorrow is 40k competitive players. Are they a plague on the hobby? That is the Hobby Nightmare tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, we will be doing 10th edition Warhammer 40,000 has failed, a 40k rant. And of course, next week, we'll be doing the White Scars. So, stick with me. Thank you very much if you donated. Thank you very much for all your ideas. You've been brilliant as always. And I'll speak to you very, very, very soon. All right? Love you a long time. Have a good one. Stay safe, everyone. Bye now.